Hi Year 2, today is Thursday the 9th of July. We're going to continue on with fractions today by counting in thirds. Just at the start of this video I want to say there might be a lot of background noise in this video. There's some work going on above me, but hopefully they'll take a pause for our video. So we'll mark our work from yesterday when we were counting in quarters, so you'll need that. Then your blank paper, pencil, partner and 2B workbook for today's learning. So I'll pause the video here so you can mark your work from yesterday. Again, I don't really know why the answers include the word and. You didn't need to write the word and. You can just write the whole numbers a bit big and the fractions a bit smaller beside it. And for the challenges. So you might have had a go at one of these. You might have tried the one with the coloured shapes. So for question A, the sequence was 1 1/4, 1 2/4, 1 3/4. So the next image in that sequence or pattern would have been B, which is 2 whole circles. For B, the pattern sequence was 2 wholes, 1 3/4, 1 2/4. So the answer was A, 1 1/4 would come next in that pattern or sequence. And the question about Ophelia and Scarlett, this was a tricky one. So the answer is that they're both correct. Scarlett says 1/2, where Ophelia says 2/4, but 1/2 is the same as 2/4. So I've put a little picture there to show that. And she also says 1 whole, where Ophelia says 4/4. But 1 whole and 4/4 are the same thing as well. So again, I've put a little picture there to show that they are equal. Well done if you got that one. So for today, don't forget we're counting in thirds today. Little hint. But what I'd like you to do first is to take a few minutes with your partner and draw Charles and Emma's amounts. Charles has red paper and Emma has green paper. They both have different amounts. I'd like you to draw them. You don't need to use different colours, although you can if you like. But I'd like to see, or I'd like you to draw, I won't be able to see it, a picture of Charles's amount and Emma's amount. And then I want you to think about who has more and how you know they have more. So if you've drawn both amounts, now can you write down how much they each have? And can you think about, are they whole numbers that they each have? The amount, is it a whole number or are they mixed numbers? It's a whole number and a part, a whole number and a fraction with it. So Charles has 1 1/3 pieces and Emma has 1 2/3. We know that because each long piece is a whole piece. So this is 1 whole piece of paper and this one here is 1 whole piece of paper. Charles's short piece, this one here, is 1/3 of a whole because 3 equal pieces could fit into it. We could fit another one there and we can fit a third one there, but there's only one. So the denominator on the bottom is 3. 3 could fit there in total, but only one of them has been shaded in. We're only using one of them. So it's 1/3. And Emma's short piece is 2/3 of a whole because she has 2 pieces that are like Charles's third. He has 1/3, she has 2/3. So she has 1 whole and 2/3. And just like we were doing with our halves and our quarters, we can fill thirds in on a number line. So we've got some of a number line here. We start off with where Charles was. He has 1 1/3. Then Emma has 1 2/3. After that comes 2, then 2 1/3, 2 2/3, 3, and we could continue on. But what about all this down here? Let's see if we can fill in these missing numbers between 0 and 1. That's our whole jump from 0 to 1, but there are some numbers missing in between. Well, first of all, a third. We're counting in thirds today, so that gives us our first clue that this will be a third. But also, that's the smallest unit that we're using today. It's not as big as 1. If you only got a third of a biscuit, you wouldn't be very happy if you wanted a whole one. So a third is our first unit that we're going to add on. Any idea what will come between 1/3 and 1 whole? It's 2/3. 0, 1/3, 2/3, and next up is 1 that's been filled in on our number line already. But we could also say that's 3/3. Yesterday we were looking at 4/4 being 1 whole. Well, today we're saying that 3/3 are also a whole. 3/3 is also 1 whole. And we don't just have to use number lines. We can do patterns like we've been doing in our challenge. So have a look at this. This is a pattern where 1/3 is added on to a circle each time. So it starts off at the start with 1/3, then 2/3, then 3/3, 1, 2, 3, which is 1 whole. So we can just write 1. Then another third is added on, so it's 1 and 1/3. Before I show you on the next slide, do you think you could pause the video and draw what would come next in this pattern or this sequence? It's 1 and 2/3. We add on 1/3 each time. 1/3 plus 1/3 is 2/3. Just like 1 banana plus 1 banana is 2 bananas. 1/3 plus 1/3 is 2/3, and our whole stays the same. Now, Lulu has a challenge for us. She has asked us to count to 10 in thirds. Well, in fact, what she's written there is a command. She's giving us an instruction. She's telling us to count to 10 in 1/3. Now, our number line before didn't go up to 10. Let's see if we can get all the way up to 10 in 1/3 on this number line. We're going to start at 4. Because you'll hopefully remember from your independent work yesterday that some of the number lines you were working on for counting in quarters didn't start at 0. And this is just like that. We're going to start at 4. And if we're counting up in thirds, the next number will be 4 and 1/3, then 4 and 2/3, then 5. 5 and 1/3, 5 and 2/3, 6. 6 and 1/3, 6 and 2/3, 7. 7 and 1/3, 7 and 2/3, 8. 8 and 1/3, 8 and 2/3, 9. 9 and 1/3, 9 and 2/3, 10. And we can keep going. 10 and 1/3, 10 and 2/3, 11, 11 and 1/3, and we could continue counting if our number line were longer, but we can keep counting in thirds. So it's time for some guided practice. You've got a few picture questions, and then number 3 is a number line question. You don't have to fill in all of the missing numbers, just the ones with the blue square, but you and your partner might find it easier to fill in all of the missing numbers. And then in number 4, it's a sequence of numbers, a pattern of numbers, and you need to fill in a few missing ones. Your number line that you did in question 3 will really help with that. Good luck, and I'll show you the answers on the next slide. So for question 1, in total there were 3 1/3 pizzas. We can see 3 whole ones, and the last one, it's divided into 3 equal parts, but only one of them has a strong colour, only one of them is being used. So our denominator is 3 for 3 equal parts, and our numerator is 1/3. For 2a, counting those pink circles, and there are 5 2/3. 5 whole circles and 2/3 of the last circle. For B, it was purple squares, and the answer is 2 1/3. 2 whole squares and 1/3 of the last square. For question 3, the missing numbers and the blue rectangles, the first one was 1/3. The one after 2 was 2 1/3. And the one in between 3 and 4 was 3 2/3, and the very last one was 5, a whole number. And for question 4, the missing numbers to complete the whole pattern would have turned it into 1, 1 1/3, 1 2/3, 2, 2 1/3, 2 2/3, 3, 3 1/3, 3 2/3, 4, 4 1/3, 4 2/3, 5. Okay, so for independent work today, we would like you to upload pictures of your work to Class Dojo so myself and Ms. Gardner can have a look at all of the wonderful work, hopefully lots of right answers, hopefully lots of mistakes as well, just to keep us happy. So for question 1 on page 115, you've got pictures of amounts and you need to write the fractions or the mixed numbers or the whole numbers, depending on the answer, in the rectangles. And question 2 on page 116 are some number lines. Remember, not all of the number lines start at 0, so you'll have to be very careful with that. And your number lines that you did in guided practice, or the ones we did on the screen here with Lulu, those will help you with this. And the challenges. If you'd like to have a go at one of the challenges, you might want to try this picture pattern one. You can draw what comes next in the pattern and write the fractions. If you really want to challenge yourself, you could draw the next few pictures in the pattern. Or there's a word problem. We've got another Scarlett doing some more maths, and this Scarlett is trying to complete the number line, so she's trying to fill in the number where the question mark is on that number line, and she thinks it's 3/3. We want to know, is she correct and can you prove it? So you might need to write some sentences to prove it, or you might need to draw a picture to prove it. Can't wait to see your work. Well done for your hard work this week. Keep it up.